The old mansion on Elm Street pulsed with a strange, eerie energy. Decorations cast long shadows. Guests in elaborate costumes mingled, their laughter echoing through the cavernous halls. A festive facade. Olivia arrived alone, dressed as a witch, seeking escape from recent heartaches. A solitary figure. The host, a mysterious figure in a grotesque mask, offered a chilling, silent welcome, an unsettling smile. Music throbbed, drinks flowed freely, promising a night of fleeting oblivion, a temporary reprieve. As midnight approached, Olivia felt a sudden, profound chill, a shift in the atmosphere, an unseen presence. She wandered into a dimly lit room, drawn by a faint, rhythmic chanting, a curious pull. A group sat around an antique ouija board, their fingers poised on the planchette, a solemn ritual. They invited her to join, their voices hushed, whispering questions to unseen entities, a dark invitation. The planchette moved, spelling out names and dates, the room growing colder, a chilling response. Olivia's turn came, her question about the future hanging heavy in the air, a personal query. The planchette moved swiftly, spelling out a single, ominous word, vanish, a terrifying prophecy. Nervous laughter died, replaced by a sudden, collective gasp, a moment of dread. One guest from the circle simply ceased to be, leaving an empty space. A sudden disappearance. Panic erupted, doors slamming shut, windows fogging with an unnatural mist. No escape now. The host's mask slipped, revealing not a face, but hollow, ancient eyes, a horrifying truth. The remaining guests scattered, searching the mansion for an exit, for answers, a desperate hunt. They found empty rooms, but the air was thick with unseen whispers, voices from the past. Bloodstains marred ancient tapestries, telling tales of forgotten revelries, a gruesome history. Olivia realized the party was a trap, the host a collector of desperate souls, a sinister game. This was no ordinary Halloween celebration, but a ritual of dark consumption, a yearly sacrifice. The mansion itself seemed to breathe, its walls closing in, a living entity, a sentient structure. They confronted the host, demanding release, their voices trembling with fear. A futile plea, it laughed, a sound like dry leaves skittering across a tombstone, a mocking sound. The host's form dissolved into a swirling vortex of shadow and smoke, an ethereal departure. Olivia, in a surge of desperate defiance, smashed the ouija board. A desperate act. A piercing scream tore through the mansion, then an abrupt, unsettling silence. A chilling quiet. The mansion did not fade, nor did the guests awaken in their own beds. No easy escape. Instead, the walls solidified, the doors vanished, the windows became solid stone, a permanent prison. Olivia felt a profound shift, a cold awareness settling deep within her, a new understanding. She was still in the mansion, but it was different, subtly altered, yet familiar, a twisted reality. The other guests were gone, their costumes lying discarded on the floor, empty shells. She walked through the silent halls, the echoes of laughter, now her own, a haunting memory. Her reflection in a dusty mirror showed not her face, but the host's hollow eyes, a chilling transformation. She was the new host, forever bound to the mansion, to the ritual, a cursed inheritance. The ouija board, though shattered, pulsed with a faint, malevolent light, an enduring power. Its pieces rearranged themselves, slowly forming a new, cryptic message, a dark prophecy. The party never ends. It spelled only the players change, an eternal game, Olivia felt the mansion's hunger, a deep, ancient craving for new souls, an insatiable entity. She would prepare for next Halloween, for the next unsuspecting guests, a grim duty. Her voice, once her own, now carried an ancient, chilling resonance, a spectral command. She practiced her welcome, her smile, the subtle shift of her eyes, a perfected performance. The mansion awaited, its shadows eager, its silence expectant, a patient predator. And Olivia, the witch, became the weaver of new, terrifying destinies, a dark sorceress. The line between host and guest had blurred, then vanished entirely, a complete absorption. She was the mansion, the party, the vanishing, the echo, all-encompassing. Her existence, a perpetual masquerade, a dance of dread and deception, an endless charade. For some parties are not meant to end, only to evolve, a sinister evolution. The mansion stood, a monument to her transformation, her eternal role, a grim testament. Its doors, once welcoming, now guarded secrets, forever locked, a sealed fate. And the music, a faint, distant thrum, beckoned new souls, a siren's call. Olivia, the new host, watched the calendar, the approaching date, a chilling anticipation. The veil between worlds thinned, the mansion's power growing stronger, a rising tide. Her reflection, a mask of ancient evil, smiled in the broken mirror, a terrifying visage. For the Halloween party, Vanishing was not a story, but a cycle, an endless loop. Its gaze, an invitation to oblivion, a promise of fractured reality, a final vision. And Olivia, a part of its endless reflection, watched the world, forever trapped, forever. Her voice, a part of the mansion's whispers, forever calling, forever waiting. An eternal whisper. The mansion, a simple structure, held the universe of her torment, a silent scream. And the Halloween party, a symphony of despair, played on, a chilling symphony. The old house stood alone on a hill, its windows like vacant eyes. Locals whispered of a curse, a Halloween dare that had gone terribly wrong. Every year, a single jack-o'-lantern would appear on its porch, lit from within. They said it was a warning, a sign of the darkness that resided inside. Two friends, drawn by the legend, decided to investigate the mysterious annual tradition. They approached the house cautiously, the autumn wind chilling them to the bone. The pumpkin's glow seemed to pulse, a malevolent heartbeat in the deepening twilight. One of them dared the other to snuff out the candle inside the pumpkin. With a nervous laugh, the friend reached out, his hand trembling as he approached. As his fingers touched the pumpkin's cold, waxy skin, the flame suddenly died. A deep, guttural laugh echoed from within the decaying, decrepit old house. The front door creaked open slowly, revealing a darkness that seemed to swallow light. An unseen force pulled them inside, the door slamming shut with a final, echoing boom. They found themselves in a dusty hall, the air thick with the smell of decay. Shadows danced in the corners of their eyes, just beyond the reach of their sight. A chilling whisper slithered through the air, calling their names in a haunting melody. They tried to run, but their feet felt as if they were stuck in thick mud. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped, prisoners of the haunted house. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, promising them an eternity of darkness and pain. They saw fleeting glimpses of figures in the shadows, their forms twisted and grotesque. These were the spirits of others who had dared to challenge the house's curse. Each one had tried to extinguish the pumpkin's flame, and each one had failed. Now, they were part of the house, their souls bound to its malevolent will. The two friends huddled together, their hope dwindling with every passing moment. They could feel the house feeding on their fear, growing stronger with their despair. The whispers began to seep into their minds, twisting their thoughts and memories. They saw visions of their own demise, their bodies becoming part of the house's decay. One of them, in a final act of defiance, screamed into the oppressive darkness. The only answer was the sound of his own voice, swallowed by the silence. They were lost. Their fate sealed the moment they had accepted the foolish dare. The house had claimed them, just as it had claimed so many others before them. Outside, the wind howled, carrying the faint sound of their screams into the night. No one would ever know what had happened to them, their disappearance a mystery. The next morning, the old house stood silent, its windows once again vacant. But on the porch, a new jack-o'-lantern sat, its candle already lit from within. It was a fresh warning, a new invitation to the next pair of curious souls. The curse of the trick-or-treat house would continue, its hunger never satisfied. Years passed, and the legend of the house grew, attracting more and more visitors. Each Halloween, a new pumpkin would appear, a silent testament to the house's power. The townsfolk learned to stay away, to respect the darkness that lived on the hill. But there were always those who were drawn to the thrill of the unknown. They would come with their bravado and their dares, eager to test the legend. And one by one, they would be consumed, their souls added to the house's collection. The house was a predator, the jack-o'-lantern its lure, the dare its deadly trap. It fed on the curious and the foolish, its hunger for souls a bottomless pit. Sometimes, on a quiet night, you could hear the whispers of the trapped souls. They would cry out in the darkness, their voices a chorus of eternal despair. They were a warning to the living, a plea to stay away from the house. But their cries were always drowned out by the wind, lost in the night. The house remained, a monument to the darkness that lurks just beyond our sight. It was a reminder that some doors are best left unopened, some legends untested. The jack-o'-lantern on the porch continued to burn, its flame a beacon of dread. It waited patiently for the next victim, the next soul, to feed its endless hunger. The cycle of the curse was unbreakable, a timeless loop of horror and despair. And so the house stood, a silent sentinel on the hill, forever waiting, its windows like eyes, watching the world with a cold, malevolent intelligence. It knew that sooner or later, someone new would come to challenge its power, and it would be ready for them, its darkness eager to claim another soul. The curse was eternal, the house a gateway to a realm of unending night. The brilliant harvest moon cast long, eerie shadows across the vast and silent pumpkin field. Endless rows of bright orange orbs patiently awaited their ultimate Halloween destiny, gleaming under the moonlight. Hope ventured into the quiet field, determinedly seeking the most perfect jack-o'-lantern for her party. Her highly anticipated annual party absolutely depended on this one single, crucial, and magnificent find. The autumn air was incredibly crisp, carrying a distinct chill that seemed to foretell winter's imminent approach. Dry, brittle leaves crunched rhythmically under her heavy, worn-out boots with every single step she took. a mysterious, spectral figure suddenly materialized among the gnarled, twisting vines that covered the ground. It was a terrifying phantom, cloaked in tattered, ancient garments that fluttered in the non-existent wind. The strange and silent spectral entity silently beckoned her to venture deeper into the ominous field. Her own dangerous curiosity, a treacherous and foolish companion, strongly urged her to cautiously move forward. She hesitantly followed the ghostly figure, the pumpkin field twisting into a disorienting and confusing maze. Each confusing turn she took seemed to lead her even further from the familiar, well-trodden path. Faint, unsettling whispers slowly began to rise from the thousands of silent, watching pumpkins around her. They were the faint, mournful voices of countless souls who had been long lost and forgotten. These ghostly voices spoke of Halloween Eve, a terrifying night when the veils between worlds are thin. The phantom finally revealed its true, horrifying nature, its form shimmering under the pale moonlight. It was the pumpkin field's ancient, incredibly malevolent guardian, its eyes burning with cold fire. Its sole, sinister purpose was to curse all trespassers, binding them forever to this haunted land. They would be forced to join the eternal, silent harvest, becoming one with the cursed earth. Hope suddenly felt a strange, inexplicable itching sensation that started to crawl all over her skin. Phantom vines, unseen but strongly felt, seemed to wrap themselves tightly around her trembling limbs. A profound and paralyzing cold dread seeped deep into her very bones, chilling her to the core. She struggled with all her might, desperately attempting to break free from the phantom's unseen grip. Her trembling hand instinctively found the familiar, cold handle of her trusty pumpkin carving knife. It was a sharp and sturdy blade, a tool that was originally intended for carving pumpkin flesh. She frantically began carving a nearby pumpkin, her hands moving with a desperate, wild energy. A grotesque, horrifying face quickly emerged under her desperate, trembling, and determined hand. The newly and crudely carved jack-o'-lantern unexpectedly began to emit a soft, pulsating, protective glow. Its flickering, warm light bravely pushed back the encroaching, suffocating shadows of the dark night. The terrifying phantom recoiled with a pained hiss, its spectral form momentarily dissolving in the light. The entire field around her seemed to shudder violently, the very ground trembling beneath her feet. The chilling, spectral vines finally loosened their cold, tight hold, releasing her from their grasp. She scrambled away as fast as she could, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The field slowly began to normalize its appearance, the eerie atmosphere starting to fade away. The oppressive, heavy atmosphere of dread gradually dissipated around her as she continued to run. She foolishly believed that the ancient, powerful curse had been momentarily and thankfully broken. Hope stumbled out of the field, gasping for breath, finally escaping into the cool night air. She had physically escaped the field, but she could not escape its dark and lingering echoes. Halloween pumpkins, once a source of joy, now brought a profound and inescapable sense of unease. Their grotesquely carved smiles seemed to cruelly mock her terrifying and unforgettable ordeal in the field. She completely avoided all pumpkin fields thereafter, the mere sight of them filling her with dread. The phantom became a haunting, vivid memory that replayed endlessly in her troubled, restless mind. Its inescapable terror lingered on, a permanent, invisible scar etched upon her fragile, fractured psyche. She often found herself wondering about the other poor, lost souls trapped within the pumpkin field. Were they still whispering their mournful tales from inside the cold, hollowed-out orange gourds? The field remained, appearing silent and deceptively peaceful to any who might pass by it. It was patiently waiting for the next unsuspecting visitor to foolishly wander into its deadly embrace. Its spectral guardian, unseen by the world, tirelessly continued its lonely and malevolent vigil. The bright, full harvest moon still illuminated its endless rows of pumpkins with a cold, pale light. Hope never truly, completely escaped the pumpkin field's insidious and far-reaching, suffocating grasp. The phantom's dark, corrupting influence had subtly and irrevocably changed her in profound ways. She started to see terrifying reflections of its cold, dead eyes in every dark corner she saw. The familiar shadows of her own home now held new, sinister meanings that terrified her endlessly. Her much-anticipated Halloween party was canceled, her once vibrant and joyful spirit now utterly broken. The simple, innocent joy of the Halloween season was now forever tainted by her traumatic experience. She lived her life with a constant, gnawing fear that never ever seemed to go away. The field's terrible curse was not truly broken. It had merely found a new form of torment. She was trapped in a psychological prison, an inescapable and cruel cage built from her own fear. The ghostly whispers followed her everywhere she went, even into the supposed safety of her home. The sweet, nostalgic scent of pumpkin now brought on cold sweats and uncontrollable, violent shivers. She had become another unwilling part of the phantom's ever-growing and eternal grim harvest, a living, breathing monument to its dark, ancient power and its insatiable, unending hunger. The field had successfully claimed her, both her physical body and her tormented, fractured soul. Its dark, terrible secrets remained buried, hidden deep within the cold, unforgiving, cursed earth. The phantom watched from a distance, eternally satisfied with its latest, most tragic acquisition. Its dark and terrifying legacy continued, unbroken and relentless, throughout the passing of time. The vast pumpkin field waited, its hunger always present, for the next soul to foolishly wander in. Its silent, creeping terror was a constant, enduring presence in the quiet, lonely countryside. Hope was merely a new, tragic addition to its collection of lost and tormented, captive souls. Another broken soul, forever bound to its chilling, inescapable, and ever-expanding dark folklore. The horrifying story was actually far from over. In fact, it had only just truly begun. The phantom's terrible influence only grew stronger with each new soul that it managed to claim. Its ancient curse was a timeless, creeping dread that slowly poisoned everything it ever touched. The field's dark, cold, and empty heart beat on a steady rhythm in the silent, waiting darkness. Its grim and terrible harvest was never, ever truly complete. It always yearned for yet another soul. The phantom's terrifying tale remained unfinished, with many more verses yet to be written in blood. Its soul-crushing terror was ever present, a silent promise of the damnation that was yet to come.